Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for All-Star Race Weekend from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We kick things off here today at this 1.5-mile speedway as we get set for the All-Star Open. 28 drivers who have not locked themselves up into this season's All-Star race have an opportunity here today to race their way in. The top 3 finishers at the end of 34 laps, they will be locked into the All-Star race grid, as well as a fan vote winner. Now, how the fan vote winner will be done, we will announce it at the completion of the race. If we have our original fan vote winner finish in the top 3, we will then resort to the second highest of the fan vote winners. If the second highest of the fan vote winners and the first highest of the fan vote winners ends up finishing in the top 3, then we resort to the third highest voted driver. And if by some strange coincidence first, second, and third highest fan vote receivers finish in the top 3, we would resort to our fourth fan vote winner. So we do have clear-cut top 4, so we will have that happen if that is the case, but the likelihood is slim to none. 12 drivers locked into the All-Star race, 28 drivers here in this All-Star Open, 34 laps of racing here today, and we are running the 2019 rules package as well, so it'll give us a little bit of an idea of what to expect for the All-Star race tomorrow. We also should mention that in these 34 laps, it is required that these drivers will have to come to pit road. It could be under caution, it could be under green, but they must at least stop in their pit stall. They don't necessarily have to take service. Let's go down trackside and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So it'll be an all Chevrolet front row. Matt Haas out of Unknown Motorsports alongside of Benjamin Miles from Northeast Motorsports. And as the field will head around for their pace lap, you can take a look in the description below for the starting grid for today's All-Star Open. These drivers are not only gearing up for possibly being able to race the All-Star race, but this also gives them a little bit of an idea of what to expect in the next points race next week in the Coca-Cola 600, the first race starting off the part of the season we dubbed the chase towards the chase for the championship. We got some really interesting tracks coming up next couple of weeks once we get back into points paying races. We got the Coke 600 coming up. We've got road course at Pensacola. You've got the Monster Mile of Dover, so a lot of interesting tracks coming up in the final 13 races of the regular season. But today our focus is on the All-Star race. The top 3 finishers at the end of 34 laps, they will lock their way into the All-Star race, including our fan vote winner. Matt Haas and Benjamin Miles lead us down, and the All-Star Open All-Star Race Weekend is green. Let's roll! And already 3 wide going into turn 1. That's Julius Anderson on the bottom. Miles slipping up the track. He gets into the wall there off of turn 2. And Anderson clears for the top position. It'll be interesting as the race progresses on and we get closer and closer to the finish. Whether or not the battle's going to be for the lead, whether it's going to be for second, or whether we're going to see drivers fighting tooth and nail for that final transfer spot in third place. Matt Haas got passed by his teammate on the first lap. Now he wants the top spot back as he'll go to the inside of Anderson through 1 and 2. Carson Gunn right there as well in the 19. Jack Mitchell up the track. He got into the wall right in front of Benjamin Miles, who just barely cleared him going through the middle lane. Normally we see at Charlotte, in most races that have run here, we see the real trouble spot be off of turn 4 with drivers on the top side. Looks like turn 2's been going to be the Achilles heel for these drivers. We've had 2 drivers brush the wall. Wow, Ryan Brommer! 2 tires down on the apron as he forced his way to the inside of Keith Batson. And it looks like Matt Haas may have brushed the wall up that corner, and that held up himself and his teammate Julius Anderson. So now Carson Gunn firmly out in control for the moment. And you got the Dodge of Ryan Brommer, then the Ford of Keith Batson. Now we'll see if the rules package comes into play with draft, if the 9 and the 39 can run down the 19. 3 wide behind him. J Jefferson in the middle, Benjamin Miles down low, along with Ryan Butcher, his teammate. The Unknown Motorsports cars all being kicked up to the high side, all four of them in this field. Jefferson, Matt Haas, Diego Yepez, and Julius Anderson as Dylan Young. Look at that, using a little bit of side draft going into turn 3s. He got right up alongside that left rear quarter panel of J Jefferson, trying to take away the 5th and make that 6th position. Ryan Brommer, he managed to run down Carson Gum. He's going to go for the top position. His teammate Zach Rogers already in the All-Star race and trying to make it 2 for 2 for the Bulldog Motorsports Dodge Challengers. Right now, Keith Batson is the hunted man in that 3rd position. He would hold the final transfer spot into the All-Star race if that was where he were to finish. Ryan Butcher trying to run him down there in 4th. Dylan Young moves to 5th as he gets by Benjamin Miles. Matthew Rodriguez, a good battle back here. This is for the 8th position between himself and Julius Anderson. Adam Garcia starting to enter up into the fray. Matt Haas, the pole sitter, coming back. You also got Seth Cole back there, J Qualls, Matt McIntire. A lot of big names did not make it into the All-Star race this season. I mean, there were only 13 races that drivers had an opportunity to be able to get their way into the All-Star race. There'll be much more opportunity at the remainder of this season and the first half of next season. But so a very limited number of spots in the All-Star race this year. We did manage to have 12 drivers make it into the All-Star race, though, with only 13 races here in the first half of the regular season. So that actually was quite surprising. Dylan Young trying to close in here on the top 3. These top 3 seem pretty content right now to ride nose to tail. A Toyota, a Dodge, and a Ford. 3 different manufacturers, but all with one common goal, just to make it into the All-Star race. Ryan Brommer again tries to get the spot from Carson Gum. Looks like that outside line's a little bit more stable through 1 and 2. You try that inside line, you have to lift a little bit more. Ryan Brommer, though, right on the back bumper of Carson Gum. Now this might be where he can make his move down here in 3 and 4. Not quite close enough. Battle beginning to brew for the 3rd transfer spot as Dylan Young closing in on Keith Batson. Then you got a whole gaggle of Chevrolets back there with Miles and Butcher and Anderson and Rodriguez and Haas. Seth Cole, the 2nd highest running Toyota, as he currently is scored in the 10th position. I think he's now making a pass for 9th. And J Qualls right now is about to crack the top 10 there in the 11 car. He is the 3rd highest running Ford, as we see the 2 highest running Fords right here, side by side for the 3rd position. And Dylan Young will take the spot easily. Or will he? Keith Batson tries battling back on the top side, can't do it. Dylan Young will move into 2nd place, or make that 3rd place rather. Remember, these drivers are going to have to come to pit road here before the completion of these 34 laps. If they don't come to pit road, they are disqualified. They don't have to take service. They have to just at least stop in their pit stall. But I think fuel-wise, they can't make it the full distance, so they'll have to go with at least putting some Sunoco into the tank. I think they are somewhere around 12 to 14 laps short from making it the entire distance. Whether they want to take tires or not, that is entirely up to them. They're still continuing to hound the back bumper of Carson Gum. He's tried a couple of times down in turns 1 and 2 to make the move on the bottom, but he just hasn't been able to complete the pass. Here he is going to try it again. Looked a little better through that corner, but I can't tell if he lifts through the center of the corner or if he just gets loose on entry and that causes him to lose some ground. He may have also used up quite a bit of his rubber trying to make some moves on Carson Gum earlier, and so he may not quite have the grip going into the first corner that he did earlier. Now Dylan Young's running in 3rd place. You'd think he'd be content with that, but he is actually closing in on the top 2. Now we saw he was able to actually get the inside line working through 1 and 2, and he made the pass on Batson for 3rd place. So we'll see what happens when he gets up here to Carson Gum and Ryan Brommer. We mentioned that Ryan Brommer has a teammate already locked into the All-Star race in Zach Rogers. Well, Carson Gum also has a teammate locked into the All-Star race, J Shelly, who won back at Kentucky. So an opportunity for a couple of drivers to be with their teammates in the All-Star race. And I think Butcher may have Carson Gum this time. He got a nice run down the front straightaway. He's got 2 tires down there on the apron that kind of mess up the handling just a little bit, and he loses some ground. That actually allows Dylan Young to close in for second place. So Dylan Young's got his car wound up for the long run. If that were the case, we are now in the fuel window where these drivers would be able to make it the rest of the way. So if you're a driver that has a long run car, do you come to pit road now? That way you're going to have about, what, 19 laps to be able to work with, get your car back up to the way it was handling before, and maybe be able to fight your way up into the top 3 in the closing stages. Or do you stay out as long as you can and have your fresh rubber? I don't know. Right now, though, it would be Gum, Brommer, and Young who would transfer. Keith Batson trying to catch back up. He's in 4th. Benjamin Miles right now in 5th. He's in a battle for 5th with Matt Haas. And then from 7th on back, they are just racing tooth and nail. Ryan Acosta now in 7th. Cole Baker in 8th. Wyatt Quail, Seth Cole. A lot of the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars right up here in this mix. The 10, the 41, and the 11. All 4 of the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars in this All-Star Open. And there's the pit stops. Brommer is in along with Keith Batson and Benjamin Miles. So right at the halfway point. Carson Gum stays out, as does Dylan Young. We'll see how soon we see them on pit road. I think they can make it another 2 or 3 laps if they so choose. It's like Carson's feathering the throttle. He's coming in. Dylan Young's coming in as well. Here comes Matt Haas, Costa. Looks like everybody else is coming in this lap. So this is the pit stop they all need to make. They all now can race to the checkered flag. Nobody will be disqualified as everybody has now come to pit road and will be pulling into their pit stalls. Now remember, the first car to hit pit lane was Ryan Brommer from 2nd place. We'll have to see where he cycles around in relation to Carson Gum, who was the race leader and pitted 1 lap later. There's Dylan Young leaving his pit stall. Jack Mitchell leaving right there. I think he might right now be on the tail end of the lead lap. I'm not certain. We'll find out in a moment. If he is, he might be in Carson Gum's way. Trying to watch for Ryan Brommer in the 9. There he is, just through the middle of turns 1 and 2 right now. Here he is coming off of turn 2, and he might be able to take the race lead away from Carson Gum. Let's see. Swings around the outside, and Ryan Brommer is going to go to the top position. So coming to pit road 1 lap earlier definitely helped out the Pepsi Challenger. Looks like he'll be the leader with Carson Gum 2nd and Dylan Young in 3rd, and that is indeed the way they are scored. Jack Mitchell, not certain what happened to him. He may have lost the draft. Remember, the rules package of the draft is very important. And he is now a lap down. Now he's going to try and get his lap back, as he'll go to the inside of Ryan Brommer. That could open up the door for Carson Gum to make a move for the race lead. As these 3 battle amongst themselves, 4th place is Keith Batson, and he is about almost 3.5 seconds back. So he needs a lot to go his way here in the final half of this race. That time by, he lost another 10th. Levi McIntire gained some spots on pit road. He wasn't even up inside the top 15 when the pit stops began. He's now up in 5th place with Matt Haas, Ryan Butcher, Ryan Acosta, and Johnny Gardner. That is the top 9. Right now, Wyatt Quail would run in the 10th position, but the only positions that matter right now are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Right now, it is Brommer, Dylan Young, and Carson Gum that hold those positions. You've got the lap machine, although not off the pace of Jack Mitchell, who could certainly play a factor in this. But I don't think it really matters. I mean, the only thing that really this is going to do in terms of who finishes where between Brommer, Young, and Gum, if indeed they do finish in the top 3, is who's going to be starting 13th, 14th, and 15th in the starting grid. Fan vote winner will start in 16th place. The other 1st through 12th positions will be determined by All-Star race qualifying. So, yeah, you win the All-Star Open. That's something that you can have on your resume, you know, for the rest of your career. But third place basically gets just as good of a benefit as the race winner here in this kind of a format. Ryan Brommer is pulling away with the help of the lap car Jack Mitchell. Carson Gum and Dylan Young now fighting it out for second place. Let's see if that interval back to fourth starts to close in or not. It still stays about the same. Keith Batson still holding that fourth spot. Then you got a battle for fifth going on behind him. Teammates Johnny Gardner, Ryan Acosta. Looks like Gardner's going to take that spot. Going to be 10 to go in a couple of laps. I don't know if that's enough time. If somebody like Gardner, who might be a little bit faster, if he can get clear of Keith Batson, I don't know if he'd have time to get up there. Remember, he only would need to get up to Dylan Young. Well, now Carson Gum, who's in third. That's all he's got to do is pass that race car to get a transfer spot. He doesn't have to catch the race leader, Ryan Brommer. They're about 5 seconds back are this group. They need to get single file. They need to work together if they're going to get up there and get a last-minute transfer spot in third place. And you see there, they're still side-by-side battling. They're technically waving the white flag of surrender, saying, all right, you guys take those transfer spots. We're content back here and not making the All-Star race as long as we've battled side-by-side. Now, that time by, they did gain a 10th, but that's all they gained. It was just 1/10. To third place, it is 3.9 seconds from Ryan Acosta to Carson Gum. Gum is exiting out turn 4 now. Acosta's entering turn 3. And the one thing that is not on his side is the ticker of laps, because this time by, they hit the line and there are 9 laps to go. 4/10 cut down that time, though, by Ryan Acosta. Got to cut it down by about half a second each lap. I think he's going to have a shot at getting one of those transfer spots. Or at least to be on Carson Gum's back bumper for a shot of getting one of those transfer spots. But now he's kind of by himself, same way Keith Batson was earlier. Johnny Gardner now with a train, and he's got Ryan Butcher behind him. I don't know if Acosta's going to be able to close in just running by himself. He only gained a 10th that time by. Battle for the lead. Dylan Young going to take the spot away. Carson Gum going to move to second. Brommer moves from first back to third. And here comes Carson Gum, who led the majority of the first half of this race before the pit stops. He wants to go back to the top and not going to be able to do it here as Dylan Young gets a nice run through the center off in turns 3 and 4. Jack Mitchell right now on the tail end of the lead lap. Dylan Young trying to put him a lap down again, kind of trying to use the 0-1 as a pick. Everybody else, the next car, Michael Norman, running in 27th, is exiting out of turn 4 while the leaders are in turn 1, so we will not deal with any more lap traffic. The only car that really could play a factor here into who's going to win is Jack Mitchell. And the ticker continues to close in, now less than 4 seconds from Ryan Acosta to these top 3, but time is of the essence. Got his teammate Johnny Gardner there, as well as Ryan Butcher in the 24. If these 3 could get themselves single file, they may still have enough time to get up there. But they have to stay single file. They cannot be racing with each other. It's just going to kill their momentum, and they don't have time to lollygag. I would say that they need to be 3.4 seconds back this time, or else they have no shot. Let's see what the gap is. 3.6. I think just in terms of how many laps we've got left, I don't think they're going to be able to get up here. So right now, I think Dylan Young, Ryan Brommer rather, and Carson Gum, if they just stick together and don't wreck each other, I think they've got it made, and they would all make it into the All-Star race. Regardless of who wins, who finishes second, who finishes third. I think they all would make it in. They're all in transfer positions. And they've only got 4 more circuits to make it around here, as back to 4th place this time, a 10th was gained. And that basically is the dagger through the heart. That is the deciding factor. There is absolutely no way now that 4th place is going to be able to catch up to 3rd place. Ryan Brommer, Carson Gum really lucked out the fact that Jack Mitchell struggled at the beginning, that they've got this lap car to work with them. That gives them a little bit of extra speed as well. Dylan Dylan Young crosses the line for 3 laps to go. You look at these 3 drivers and the seasons that they've been having here for the first half of the regular season. Dylan Young doing the best of them as he comes into the second half of the season, 7th in the overall point standings. He's been on quite a good momentum roll as of late. R Brommer, I believe, is the next highest, 17th in points coming into the second half of the regular season. Carson Gum, on the other hand, he's just trying to get himself back into the top 30 points. 36th in points is where he will start out the second half of the regular season. So maybe, just maybe, running well here might make him one of the drivers to look at when we get to the Coke 600. We'll have to wait and see. But this time by, the white flag will display over the Hooters Ford Mustang of Dylan Young. None of the Young Motorsports cars were locked into the All-Star race coming into this weekend. And right now, Dylan Young looks like he may be the only one. R Brommer continue to battle for second, well over 2.5 seconds ahead of 4th place J Gardner. So they will be transferring in. Just depends on who's going to be starting in 14th and who's going to start 15th. Looks like Brommer will get the spot as off turn 4. Dylan Young is going to win the All-Star Open. R Brommer will transfer finishing in 2nd. Carson Gum will transfer finishing in 3rd. And Dylan Young came into this race as the leader of the fan vote. So we now have to resort to the driver that was 2nd highest in fan voting. He didn't even finish up inside of the top 10. There he is, Trent Dunham was the 2nd most voted driver in the fan vote voting. And he will race in the All-Star race later on this weekend, starting from the 16th position. So a Sega Motorsports representative will be in the All-Star race via the fans. So Dylan Young, if he hadn't transferred his way into the All-Star race here by finishing in the top 3, he'd have been in via the fan vote, but he decided to do it on his own. So Dylan Young's Ford, R Brommer's Dodge, Carson Gum's Toyota, and Trent Dunham's Chevrolet. How about that for irony? The 4 transfer spots, 4 different manufacturers. They will be in the All-Star race. Coming up short, J Gardner, Benjamin Miles, R Acosta, M Haas, Seth Cole, Ryan Butcher, Wyatt Quail. They all finished in the top 10, but they will not be in the All-Star race. They got some good experience, though, with battling with other drivers there in the closing stages. That might put them in good stead in realizing what's going to be going on when we get to the Coke 600 next week. But Dylan Young with the victory. Brommer transfers, Carson Gum transfers, and Trent Dunham transfers. You'll see them along with the other 12 drivers that transferred into the All-Star race later on this weekend. Next up, the 12 drivers that had already locked themselves into the All-Star race will get ready for All-Star race qualifying. They will be doing All-Star race qualifying with the pit stops and everything. That'll be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss that. And then you will see the All-Star race where Dylan Young will start 13th, Brommer 14th, Gum 15th, and Dunham in 16th, along with the other 12 drivers that are already locked into the All-Star race for our All-Star race event. And then we don't go anywhere. The following week, we're here still at Charlotte for the longest race of the season, the Coca-Cola 600, to start off the second half of the regular season. If you enjoyed this All-Star Open, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. These are your full finisher results from today's event, and we will see you guys tomorrow for All-Star Race qualifying as you've been watching a production of the SRA, offline racing at its best.